Okay, the key changes. So many of you may know that we had a CMMC level, a CMMC 1.0, and then in November of 2020 they came out with CMMC 2.0, right? And so as we had those changes, it changed the program as a whole. Originally in CMMC we had 5 levels. Now we have 3 levels, and I'll show a picture of the 3 levels here in just a second. The second change was that the original CMMC 1.0 had 130 practices at level 3, and the government decided to remove 20 of those, which were unique to the CMMC program, and point the entire CMMC program back to NIST 800-171 as a whole, so that there was nothing beyond NIST 800-171, which had been required all the way back to 2016, 2017, and so they weren't adding any additional requirements to the contracting community beyond what had been levied back in the 2016, 2017 timeframe. So all those Delta 20 requirements have been removed as part of CMMC 2.0. The assessment requirements are the new piece, or the big change. Under CMMC 1.0, all 5 levels had to be third-party assessed. Under CMMC 2.0, it is allowing self-assessment for level 1. Level 1 are 17 practices that align with the FAR 52204-21, which were 15 practices that were identified back in 2015 and have been in contracts since 2015. Okay? For level 2 and level 3, it will require third-party assessments. What you may have heard the term a C3PAO, that is a CMMC third-party assessing organization. Those C3PAOs are the organizations that will be assessing at level 2, and then level 3 will require a CMMC level 2 assessment, and then DIBCAC will come in and execute the level 3 assessment on the additional subset of controls from NIST 800-172. Okay, so that's how that's going to work. If you're going to get a level 3 assessment, you're first going to get a third-party assessment on level 2, and then DIBCAC will come in and do a third-party assessment on the level 3 requirements, which are essentially enhancements to the level 2 controls. Okay? The fourth area are POAMs. So this change came in originally in CMMC 1.0. There was going to be no allowance for POAMs of any kind. Under CMMC 2.0, they are going to allow POAMs, but these POAMs are only going to be for the level 1 controls, or I'm sorry, not the level 1 controls, the 1-point controls as defined by the DoD assessment methodology. And I linked the DoD assessment methodology earlier in the deck, so you can go find that. But those 1-point controls are the only ones that can be POAM'd, and those controls must be resolved within 180 days of your assessment. So the POAMs are not POAMs like we were talking about back in the original 7012 days, where those POAMs could last for many months or even years. People were holding on to POAMs for years in some cases. These POAMs will have to be closed out within 180 days of your contract award. Okay? All right. So this is just a quick reference of the changes from 1.0 to 2.0. You can see we went from 5 levels to 3 levels. Level 2 in Model 2 is equivalent to Level 3 in Model 1. So you can see the number of practices dropped from 130 to 110 because they removed the Delta 20. You can see that Level 1 is effectively the same from CMMC 1.0 to CMMC 2.0. No changes in level 1. The only change in level 1 from CMMC 1.0 to 2.0 is the fact that we now can do self-assessment at level 1 rather than a third-party assessment at level 1. The other change that they did make is with SPRS being put in the mix now a company official, a CEO, a COO, is going to have to be the one that essentially attests to those practices being met. And so if that that submission is not true and accurate, then the CEO, COO, or chief whatever person at the company will be the one being held accountable for that submission being incorrect. Okay. All right. So before I get into the cap, I'm going to look for a couple questions here and see if we've got any. Okay, so a couple questions. One, how do I know what level our company is? Well, basically, you're going to have to look at the type of data that you manage. Are you managing controlled unclassified information? If you are managing controlled unclassified information as defined by NARA in the CUI registry, then you will be at level 2. Okay, at minimum level 2. The only companies that will be at level 1 are companies that only deal with federal contract information, or FCI. If you have 15 contracts where you only deal with FCI and you have one contract where you deal with CUI, then your company is going to be assessed at a level 2, not at a level 1. You're going to be assessed at the highest level of the data you handle across all of your contracts. Okay? The second comment I have here, in CMMC Level 2, some only require self-assessment. So there is the concept of a self-assessment at Level 2 for information that is deemed non-critical CUI. It's kind of a real nuanced position that the government has taken. However, if you talk to the DoD, they have yet to be able to find any CUI that would be deemed non-critical. So that basically takes out the possibility of a self-assessment at level 2 away. It may exist as part of the program, but it is not feasible because the government has yet to identify any CUI categories that they would believe to be deemed non-critical CUI. So effectively, it doesn't exist. So just to keep it simple, level 1, self-assessment, level 2, level 3, third-party assessment.